Hey, welcome to TrendForce. So good to have you with us. In this session, you're going to see a recording from our recent in-person live event that took place in Auckland, where we had traders and students and brand new people looking at trading for the first time drive in from all over the North Island and even fly up from the South Island. So you're going to see the much anticipated release of version 4 of our TrendForce software. And so, if you're brand new to trading, I spent a little bit of time in the beginning talking about the basics, talking about the 18.6-year cycle, which is a massive, massive deal because we are approaching a very similar season to what was the global financial crisis back in 2007, 2008, which is depicted in the movies like The Big Short. So you're going to learn a lot in the beginning of the session around that. And then Dad's going to get on and show us what version 4 and what trading with TrendForce looks like. And at the end, I'm going to show you what it looks like to join our community if that's something you're interested in. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me anytime on social media. Send me a message, send me your questions. I'm here to help you get started and help you figure out if trading is for you. But in the meantime, enjoy this recording and we'll see you on the inside. All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming out. How you doing? You good? Who's not from Auckland? Let's start with that. Check that out. Guys, massive round of applause for making the effort. I can't start acknowledging individuals because I will leave people out, but I know at least like Dylan and Wayne flew from the South Island. So extra round of applause for flying. That's pretty next level. And I know some have driven from all over, whether it be like Gisborne, Taupo, Tauranga, up north, all over the show, and some from just down the road. You're just as valued, don't worry. But thank you for coming out tonight, for being here. Tonight's really special. For those of you that are absolutely brand new to the world of trading or what this space is all about for us, we've been doing this for a few years, but we haven't done anything open to the public like this for about 18 months. So we've been quietly building some stuff in the background, working with our close-knit group since November. And so we thought we're now well and truly ready to show everyone else what's up. And yeah, we're gonna move at the pace of family because I know not everybody is familiar with all the nerdiness of trading. So gonna do my best to move us along together. And then at some point, pretty soon, Dad's gonna jump up and show you what the heck V4 actually is. And then wrap up the night after that with how we can actually utilize it in day-to-day life. So does that sound good? You good? I know like those of you who are already kind of like part of the cult, you're like, show us now. Like, yeah, you just want it now. You're like, sit down, Ty. Dad, get up and show us. Now, I will move as fast as I can, but yeah, we'll get to it and it is going to be well and truly worth it. So trying to record things as well because we've got an international family. We've got people all over the planet doing this with us, which is super special. So that's why it's so cool to be able to even do this and meet people face to face for the first time. Really, really fun. So I don't want to take my time at all. So let's move. So first up, who's seen these movies? The Big Short or Inside Job? There we go. Okay, so most of you have. But this really also sets the scene for what we've been talking about tonight. So The Big Short, the big theatrical drama of the 2008 global financial crisis, the GFC, the thing where, a lot of Americans lost their homes. And depending on where you were in the world, like I actually lost my job. I got made redundant when I was a Sparky back in 2008 because of that thing, the flow-on effect here. And yeah, those guys were essentially shorting the market. Some smart guys figured out, things are about to turn down. And they got themselves in a position where they were still able to actually make money even though things were going down. And so that's what a lot of people wrestle with initially is how do I make money when things are going down? Because we're familiar with traditional investing where you buy a house or buy a stock and it goes up in value. But trading gives us the ability right out the gate to be able to make money up or down. So The Big Short is probably the coolest way to see that in a real live action. This actually happened on a huge scale. And Inside Job is like the documentary version narrated by Matt Damon. So if you haven't seen that one, pretty good as well. They have all the real faces and interviews, at least those who were man enough to get on camera, because a lot of those guys didn't want to be seen or heard from ever again. So those, highly want to recommend those. And then this, who's ever heard of the 18.6-year cycle? I've talked about it a little bit. Yeah, nowhere near enough of you. So when I came across this a couple of years ago, it really opened my mind a little bit more to what's actually going on. And the more people I speak to who are deep in property and deep in investing that haven't seen this, are blown away when you start looking at it. And so in a nutshell, there's 200 years of data on this thing. And I will show you where that even comes from in a minute, but this is essentially the boom and bust that has been happening for a long time. So you have this 14-year up period where markets are going up in a big way, and it's driven a lot by property, which is also driven a lot by money printing and markets, and they're all pumped together. And so you have this initial rise. And if we want to look at the most recent occurrence of, the first little mid-cycle slowdown, 2020. The COVID dip. And so that's usually financial markets led, so that we had our dip there. And then these major corrections that happen after the 14 years up and the 4 years down, That's more property-led or land-led, and the most recent one of those would have been, guess what, 18-ish years ago, and that was the GFC. So we're actually getting really, really, really close to another one of these, which you may have already been mildly aware of, like people talk about crashes and downturns and things, but this is very, very real, and where we are right now is somewhere in that red circle-ish, possibly a little bit closer to the top. We had a huge, huge liquidation event in the last few days as well, where things tanked pretty heavy. I don't quite think we're at the top yet, because when we are near the top of the cycle, we're at the stage called euphoria, where people are crazy excited about the money they're making, way more than usual. Everyone's telling you to sell your everything and go all in, and I don't think we've quite hit euphoria yet. So we're in that space where this winner's curse phase, this final 2 years of the phase, is where things are pumping a little bit more than usual. And it's great if you're already in the market. It's really bad if you're entering a little bit late. Like if you bought a house in the last year, your house might be worth less than what you paid for it, which is a scary thing, because I remember when we bought ours, it was great. It was a long time ago, not that long ago, 7-ish years ago, seeing roughly where we were, but nowhere near had this amount of insight. That was God giving us some guidance. But we got in, made some gains through that, and then when we really started to see this, wife and I really strongly, honestly, just felt God say it's time to sell and get out of that market and look into other ones. And so we did exit sometime last year, and basically today our house that we sold we got more than CV at the time, which is a miracle, but it's worth quite a bit less than what we sold it for today. And we took that and made some clever moves with Bitcoin. That's a whole other conversation we're not getting into tonight. But massively, massively passionate about crypto, but I'll save that for now as much as I can. But when you can see this data, this will give you a little bit more. If you want to know where that comes from, there's this website, this Australian-based one, real estate, property, share market, economics.com. That's a mouthful. But anyway, on this site, you're going to see where this is coming from, this 200 years worth of data. You can see they're going back to 1818. These peaks in land value prices, I've measured all these gaps, and they're all between 15 to 18 odd years. And so from that, obviously, it continued into the 21st century with the peaks in 71, 89, 2007 to 2008. And so when those peaks come in as well, the peak of the GFC wasn't really 2008. It was sort of 7 into 8, and like I lost my job in 2009. So it actually took 2 years for that to wobble over into it affecting me here on the ground. But plus minus 18 years is in that zone right now of a little bit of trouble. And so to back that up a bit more, my lovely wife sent me this actually day before yesterday. She just saw this article on this news site in Aussie. What does it say over there? The head of one of the largest banks is predicting a catastrophic stock market collapse lurking. So I think it was Jamie Dimon, the head of one of the major banks over there, basically using words like once in a lifetime economic reset, all the scary language. But when you're the head of a bank, you're not allowed to be super trigger happy with your words. And so he knows, like, if I don't start talking about this and this happens, they're going to say, well, why didn't you see it or say something? So the article goes on for quite a bit. You can go and find it there. But it goes into some detail about how, we've had this increase in the markets and money printing, but wages hasn't kept up. I think like the markets have run about 300% and wages have gone like 50%. And so it creates this gap where we're all going, life is more expensive and I'm not making enough to keep up with it. Who's felt that at least? You've noticed that things are way more expensive. Inflation numbers that they tell you like 2-3%. How many of you know that that means rubbish when things are like double the price that they used to be? Yeah, the inflation numbers they tell us aren't the real ones. You've got to start, but when you start learning about this stuff, well, that's what Dad studied and lectured economics. I'll leave it to him, but I just want to give you a little bit of real world, like Friday news releases that this stuff is happening. Like we're in this season right now. And so that's kind of the why we should even be thinking about trading, because it gives us that ability to make money if and when things roll over in a big way. Does that make sense? You guys tracking? Yeah. Cool. So in the midst of that, the smart guy had something quite clever to say once upon a time, which is what makes trading so powerful, which is compound interest. And so compound interest essentially, it says that his statement is the 8th wonder of the world. Those who understand it, earn it, and those who don't understand it are the ones who pay it. And you may have heard that, seen that, whatever, but credit cards, car payments, mortgages, that is banks and big money using compound interest to their advantage. And trading is one of the spaces where you can use compound interest to your advantage. And so that's the journey that we're on, is learning how to compound our money by little bit, by little bit, by little bit. But as your account grows, you're risking, your 1% is now getting bigger every single time your account grows. So you're risking the same amount percentage-wise, but your returns are getting potentially bigger as you're compounding. So it scales a lot differently. So speaking practically of compounding, surprise, Danny, you're in the room, bro. Where's Danny? I saw you from Rotorua. Give it up for Danny. So you know, Danny and I, we were tracking for quite a while. I went down and stayed in their beautiful Airbnb on the lake in Rotorua, and you know, we got chatting about crypto and about trading, got involved in our community, and you know, the full 30-minute stories on the YouTube channel, because we've been doing this for a while, and we got them on to share one night for the whole team. But in a nutshell, I picked the sentences out of there, which is, you know, before we got going with TrendForce, being down 50% in the first 18 months, then was able to turn 4 grand into 13 in 6 weeks. TrendForce changed everything. And so the how, and you know, this was a couple months ago, and the story continues, and there's ups and there's downs. It's never all perfect, and you know, we've had lots of conversations about that. But how you get from 4 to 13, I'm going to show you this website. So the calculatorsite.com, you can go play with the site. This is how you can go and figure out exactly what compound interest might look for you. So you can go in there and just punch in your numbers. I just punched in Danny's because I wanted to figure out like how much. He told me like he did the math as well. But if you were to take 4,000, punch it into this calculator, put a daily percentage rate of 2.7% a day, and I figured out, you know, it was in 6 weeks, so across 2 months to get to that amount, you can see what happened there. So quite a few trades in that period. It wasn't like 2 or 3, it was like more like hundreds, potentially over trading, but that's a whole other conversation. But he did that. So in that sense, that's how you can compound. When you're doing 2.7% a day, that's not normal. That is not your beginning. He's been at this for a few years, but that's what we're aspiring to. And so backing it up on this side, you know, what does 1% a day look like? And honestly, even 1% a day, this doesn't equate for going backwards. Like you're going to go forward 2% one day, you're going to go backwards 1% the next day. But if you're able to go week to week and month to month forward, compounding is on your side. So if you were doing, Danny, 1% a day, 12 months down the track, you'd go from 4 to 53. Now, that has happened in our community. More than that has happened in our community. I'm not saying that's going to happen for you, because I don't know what level of intent and focus you want to put in this. It all depends on how your life feels at the moment, how much time you want to carve out. When I saw this first 4 years ago, I was in a space where I knew if I didn't change something, financially speaking, didn't get smarter financially, I wasn't going to be doing what the Bible says, which is leaving an inheritance for my children's children. I was just trying to figure out my own retirement. And so I went all in as I could. I was getting up at 5 a.m. for the gym, and with lockdowns, that wasn't happening. So I just went all in, a couple hours of study before the kids woke up, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night, and just went at it as much as I could. So the difference between 2 hours a week and 2 hours a day will equal a very different place 2 years down the track. Does that make sense? So that's what compounding looks like when we actually talk about compound interest. It's learning how to compound your money. So, you know, you might not have 4 grand. That's, you know, wherever you start, whether it's 1,000 or 500. When you actually start trading, you're firstly going to start with fake money. That is the first rule. Practice with fake money in real markets, in real time, get consistent. And then if you're really healthy, you will get some accountability and show someone your demo results before you just throw money in there and pretend like you've got this. And then you realize pretty quickly, like most of us do, that we're not actually as ready as we think we are. A few heads going, cringing, like, yeah, I wish I knew that, but I had to figure it out. And so whether or not you're starting with 1,000 or 500, that's what, you know, 1% a day over 12 months looks like. You're essentially going to 13x on 1% a day if you're doing that 5 days a week. And I honestly even feel like that's to some degree overpromising it. I'm saying that this is what you can expect when you've got this down. Like if you think about learning a new skill, like say you were deciding to be a doctor or a lawyer or an architect. If you're at uni for a year or two, if you're studying to be a surgeon, you're probably not expecting to get paid in your first couple of years, right? No one's paying you to cut them open. If you think about the skill set as the thing that you can learn and use anywhere on Wi-Fi, it gives you an incredible amount of freedom, but not many people give it the dues it deserves for the amount of time it takes to actually achieve this skill. Does that make sense? And so I tell everyone, like, zoom out. Don't expect to make anything in your first year or two. Some do, most don't. But it's a thing that you can learn and you can apply in your own time to empower yourself, where you can start to get compounding working for you. So that's what that looks like in a nutshell, compounding. And you know, if any of that flew over your head, how many of you have already taken advantage of our free course that we've got? A few hands, none. You've already, yeah, there we go. Okay, so we put together a website finally, and on there is a detailed 4-part series, 90 minutes. It's going to give you all the basics on how this stuff works and how you can actually just get your feet wet, so to speak, as to how the markets tick along. There's a PDF that goes with it, everything. My phone's been going a little crazy lately with people requesting this, so it's quite cool. Once you put in your email address, you're going to get that email straight away, and that course is going to land in your inbox. And that's where we all start, guys. We all start with learning some foundations. I went through something very, very similar a few years ago, been through a few of them. It's like, honestly, the first time I thought about learning how to trade, I got real what's the word I'm looking for? Disheartened, because the only guy I knew doing it was charging $5,000 US for 3 months of mentorship. No fancy scanners, just I'm going to teach you for 3 months and I hope that I can learn your strategy. Had a few friends do it. I was like, I can't do that. And so I watched that, play out. And anyway, those guys learned that thing, but it wasn't the thing that actually bought them the freedom ticket. It was learning some other things as well. So you never know in the space, like all the different options that are out there, like $5,000, $10,000, that's normal. But what we were a part of in the past was more like $300 to $400 a month to learn from some guys online. And Dad and I, over the years, we've learned from many different people. But eventually got to the point where when you've got it and you've learned it and you're winning, you can actually flick around and start coding some crazy things, which I know you're all waiting for. So I'll keep going as fast as I can. But inside of this free course, you're going to learn these basics where, this is a chart. These are candles. Most of you probably know what this is, but if you don't, you can see with the red ones, price is going down. Blue ones, price is going up. So the anatomy of a candle, if it's blue, it just means that, you can apply this to a 1 minute worth of price action, 1 day, 1 week. So if price opened, low down, let's go back to that one. You can see this could be, say this was like a weekly chart and we were looking at the Dow Jones or gold, whatever. If price opened high and closed red, it just means during that week or during that minute or during that hour, price just finished lower than it started. That's a red bar. A bearish bar just means that at the end of that time period that you're measuring, price went down. And blue, as you probably guessed it, it just means that price went up. So whether price is going up or down, we're just trying to figure out which way's next to try to get in on that trend and get it right. So essentially here, buying, selling, we want to know with as much accuracy as possible when to push buy or when to push sell so we can get into the market and get out the market on the right side of it. Does that make sense? Yeah, you're good. Most of you all know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, that's okay, because I guarantee all of us knew nothing about this at one point. And I'd rather that we all move together as much as possible. So in the midst of that, though, the one thing you will have to understand is that when you're buying or selling, you need to have a stop loss. Everyone on the team should be saying amen. Like, way too much. What's that? Inside jokes. Anyway, so with this, when you push buy or when you push sell, the difference here is, for instance, say you bought a house last year. You just put all of your hard-earned savings into an investment. Say you had 300 grand, you borrowed 700, you bought this house for $1 million, and today it's worth less, hypothetically. You could decide now, this massive investment, like we're going to be in this for 10 years, we're fine, we're going to hold through whatever. But if you bought with the expectation that it was going to go up in value and rates were going to stay the same, we're just going to be making 10% a year. I'm going to be honest, guys, when we started to liaise with our real estate agent that we're going to sell, he said, yeah, Auckland's probably going to do maybe 7 to 8% this year, probably not 10. I'm like, okay, all right. I don't think so, but that's why we're selling. He's like, by the end of our conversations, by the time we sold, he came to me to say, look, man, I don't know how, but like, I just had a friend contact me for the first time ever. The East Auckland Council was contracting him to lower the CVs of East Auckland properties by 10 to 15%. And it hasn't happened before. And I was like, I tried to show you that thing with the 18.6 year cycle. But most people just think property always is the easy, safe, go for it. And it can. Like in Auckland, they might double in value every 10 years. Most of you know this. Most of you own properties longer than me. And that's fine as a long-term holding strategy. But if right now you're in a place where you need to change your financial situation and not put all your eggs into one basket, then learning how to have a stop loss on your little micro investment is like, say you bought gold on a trade and you had a stop loss there in case you were wrong. You're risking that 1%. So that's the difference. When you're buying a house, all of your liquidity is in the market, in that house, and you're all in. But with trading, we decide to put it all here and go, this looks like a good setup. I'm putting 1% on this opportunity. And if price goes against us and hits that stop loss, we lose 1%. And you try to be as unemotional about it as possible, about the losses and the wins. Because if you get too euphoric about those take profit targets, you're going to make losses after that euphoria kicks in. Let's go real quiet on that because you know what that feels like. You feel invincible when you're on a winning streak. But you have to have a stop loss. And that just guarantees our risk. So when we're talking about risking 1%, when we enter a trade, we know exactly what we are risking when we enter a trade. So in that sense, you could say it is less risky than just randomly buying shares or investing in something because you know what you're prepared to lose. And there's a really good book by Tom Hogarth called Best Loser Wins. Most of you guys, I think, have read it by now. I've been pumping it up for ages. But you actually have to learn how to lose in order to win. And so you need to have a stop loss in place, and then whether or not you decide to have a target and take profit, well, we all have different ways of doing that. But wouldn't it be nice if we showed up to our screens and we saw buy signals down there, nothing in between to say otherwise, a buy signal over there and a buy signal over there and a take profit level up there. And this is like while Dad and I are filming the other night, it just in real live time, like we couldn't have planned this if we tried. Where's the date? 22nd of September. This is at 6 p.m. down there. This is about 8 p.m. over here. London open, a lot of us trade nights, some trade mornings, some trade middle of the day. But while Dad's fancy scanner is firing, it's just firing these buy signals on the way up. Price comes down, gives us a signal, price comes down, gives us a signal. So you might not be able to see it, but there's a little red line over there that's your stop loss. So if we entered at the top of that candle, there's our 1% risk. 1% is right there. Everything above that is 1% gain, 2% gain, 3% gain. And that's how the odds stack in our favor, is that if you can smack out risking 1 to make 2, if you do that more than half, you could have a win rate that's less than half. You could be losing 6 out of 10 trades and still be profitable most of the time. If you're winning more than you're risking, compounding over time. I know that might initially be a little hard to grasp, but you don't have to win every trade and you won't. Anyone tells you that they do, yeah, everybody loses eventually. It's just what happens. So this is not perfect either. This is just an example while we're filming. This is inside of our PDF as well and in our videos that are going to drop tomorrow. But this shows us when to push buy, likewise when to push sell. And so that's the journey Dad's been on, is figuring out like how can we approach these markets and get rid of the noise as much as possible, figure out when to get in and when to get out as safely as possible. Because you might buy stocks, you might buy Bitcoin, you might buy whatever. The longer you're in the market, the greater the risk. Because price will correct, price will, like in the last few days, huge liquid. It's actually, I think, one of the biggest liquidation events in history in the last few days. 19 billion, I think, just got wiped. People that are trying to do these big trades and hold them into the clouds, thinking it's never going to come back down. The market always corrects because, well, the money movers know where everyone's stop loss is, number one, and they know how to get the money. But in these situations, the quicker we can get in and get out, one of our educators, James, what do you say? Smash and grab. He likes to just get in the market, get out the market, move on with your day. Try to be there for as short a time as possible so you can get away from that, shut the lid and go live your life. We are not living to trade, we are trading to live so we can shut the lid and go have more time with family. Does that sound good? Yeah. The idea is buy back our time. That is essentially it. So that's an example of a little bit more that we're going to see in a minute. But yeah, V4 guys, TrendForce, this community, it is completely blown me away because when I got started, I had no idea. I mean, most of you might not know this, but this church that's here, well, we wouldn't be here because, well, if Dad didn't program V4, but we also wouldn't be here if, like 30 years ago, my mom and dad didn't move here from South Africa to start this church. So it actually started in our that first picture on the left is our old house down the road, couple school halls, and then we built this building about 20 years ago. So we're usually downstairs on a Sunday morning, but a few years ago, I started doing this. I showed my mom and dad. Mom actually got fired up, started getting into Ethereum and all sorts. I'll leave that over there. Like that, anyway. And Dad was like, but then when he saw these charts, something in his mind started to go, I like to look at that, because he was a maths teacher once upon a time. He did computer programming back in the army. He was also an accountant, and he also lectured economics at MIT here when we first moved here. So he knows numbers at a higher level than most. And so when he saw the charts and he saw the numbers, he went like, I see patterns, I see things. And so started to trade and eventually just figured out nothing else was going to cut it. So he coded some cool stuff. So Dad, as he comes up.
Thanks, Paul.
Pleasure. I'm going to try and give you this, so then we have some good audio.
Swap around the mics. This has been such a fun journey. This was so left field. I mean, this is the last thing I ever thought I would be involved in. You know, I think I was driving the other day. My wife and I went away for our 40th wedding anniversary. Came back yesterday. And I feel a bit like I'm not a Kentucky fan, but, you know, Colonel Sanders only started Kentucky Chicken when he was 65 or so. And I've just turned 65 recently, so I feel a bit like it's never too late to learn something new. That's what I can say, you know. So, but it's been a really fun journey, you know. So, I mean, firstly, what is TrendForce? I mean, I always say it's like 3 things. One, it is an indicator, and that's what we're going to talk about version 4. But it's also a strategy. I realize there's no use having an indicator without a strategy. But also, most importantly, it's a community. And I've been chatting with some of the guys here, and that's what they appreciate most, that trading is not something you want to do alone. It's already lonely. It can be by yourself, you know, checking the charts. but it's great to be in community where we can learn from each other. And I've learned so much. And I want to thank all our beta testers, the guys who signed up like almost a year ago. We weren't even ready to launch, but people were saying, we heard you're doing something, let's sign up, let's get going. So we weren't quite ready, but we launched with version 1. And the feedback's been phenomenal. And so I just want to honor all the guys that have given feedback. And that's what I love about what we're doing. It's not just me doing the coding, but I'm listening to what people are saying to try and make it better. And so we're not going to do like multiple changes in the near future. This is going to be it for a while. I know every time I make changes, Ty's got to change PDFs. So we do more videos. Like this was 2 hours video we're doing, a couple of weeks back to get it ready. But it's been a really fun journey. So I want to say thanks for coming along. And as Ty said, my journey was, I saw the charts. I thought, I want to give this a go. And I was very unsuccessful. It was not good for my pride. I'm highly competitive and I hate losing. So we tried one strategy and then we tried another one. And that's when I thought, I think we can actually do better than that. So I just gave it a go and I just started learning to code. Initially, I couldn't find people teaching it. So I've never told anyone this except a few minutes ago. I would go on YouTube and I found in India, they were teaching coding, but in Hindi. So I couldn't understand the language, but I followed the coding and I would take screenshots of what they were doing and practice it. And I just began like that, learning small. And I remember I was telling someone now, the first time, the different colors, blue, these we call our trend zones. The first time I attempted that, my wife was shopping and I thought, I don't want to go in the shoe shop, look at women's shoes. So I sat in the car and I thought it'd be nice to fill the colors between our EMAs. And so I just Googled online, tried to find code I could work with. And then I saw something that kind of worked and I went back and messed it up and eventually got it going. So that's how I got into it, But then the more I did it, the more I got the knack of it. And I did spend 2 years programming when I was in the army. It wasn't a waste of time. We had to do 2 years compulsory military service. And then I did lecture statistics and maths at a polytechnic in South Africa. So kind of God shaped me for this. So that's been the journey. So it's not perfect yet, but version 4 is definitely heading in the right direction. There's some great changes. So I'm not going to get too nerdy because we've got people who know nothing. And there's going to be a video that's going to be released tomorrow that's going to be like almost an hour's training. So I'm just going to point out a few things and talk about why we've made some changes. So, there were 3 main reasons why we got version 4. Number 1, we wanted to reduce the noise. So already you can see there's less noise. You can see what's different with the candles. 1 year's free subscription, gone. No. We've got rid of the hollow candles. It made a lot of noise and it didn't add much, especially with how we've developed a few more things. So we've taken the noise as like less hollow candles. So it's way easier. Can you see how much easier it looks? Less noisy, no hollow candles. So 1, we wanted to reduce the noise. Then secondly, we also obviously wanted to improve our profitability, So it looks like, I sent Ty pages of spreadsheets. So basically, it's probably 23% more accurate now, the win rate on the 1 minute and 30% on the 3 minute. So, this is quite a big jump. So, and I'll just say it's like the 3 minute, which I like, is just phenomenal. I put it on our feed for a whole week. There wasn't a loss between the New York Open and 9 o'clock New Zealand time in the morning. For 5 days in a row in the Dow, there wasn't a loss. You could have taken every signal, even the counter trend signals, you would have made some money. So we lessen the noise, we want to increase the profitability. And also the key thing, 2 other things, there were 4 things. 1 is to make it easier to read the charts. So you'll see with what I've added, with one glance, you get a very good picture about whether a trade is worth taking or not. And so easy to read the charts and also trading off one chart. Who knows my 3 charts I look at? 1, 3, and 8. Always say 8 is your mate. So especially if the market's trending now, it's possible I trade mainly off one chart. So we've added a lot of stuff to that. So should we jump in and have a look?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So here we are looking at the US 30. So now I'm on Ty's computer and I've got his mouse and I told him to turn the sensitivity down, which he did. So you just look at it and the thing moves. So he's turned it down a bit. So this was the Dow on the 3 minute on Saturday. Let me just dial back with what I'm going to show you now. I'm obsessed with Fibonacci numbers. Who knows that? I can rattle from 1 to 4,181. I'll rattle them all off. But the reason is because what we've learned is that all major banks, financial institutions, the prop firms, with all their orders, they use Fibonacci numbers. And so that's what triggers a lot of trades, buys and sells, is Fibonacci numbers. So with all the coding I've done, everything's based on Fibonacci numbers. And so I found out if you use Fibonacci numbers in your coding, then you tend to, your trades, your buys and sells tend to align with moves. And so I've used Fibonacci for this little change. So I'm not going to show everything. I mean, there's heaps of stuff I could rattle on, but we'll unload it as we could do our live sessions and probably training. We're doing training on Tuesday night, 8 till 9. I'll do some more training on version 4. But to set your mind at ease, the basic 3 rules still apply. TAS, T is for trend zones must align. We should know that. A is the angle of the 21, which is our white moving average, this one here. And then S is for space. So the rules stay the same. The rules haven't changed, but I want to say the signals are way stronger and more accurate. And I'll show you what we've done. We put in extra safety into the signals. That's why we had a whole week of, 9 hours a day, no losses on the 3-minute on the Dow. And so we're going to rattle through a few things here. So the first thing is that what is missing is hollow candles have gone. There's also no EMA 55. Who remembers there was an EMA moving average scored 55? We've taken that away. So that 55 represented what was happening with the 3-minute. But we've got something better. But just so you don't worry, the 55 also had coding in. Sorry, I'm getting too technical, am I? I just can't help myself. Man, I'm just like lost in euphoria talking about this stuff. So, the 55, I coded the trend strength. So it went bright when it was strong, but I've just moved that to the 13. So you'll see here, you've got a bright green EMA 13, bright green. That shows strong 10. There it goes. Sorry, my glasses are the wrong way around. No, red. You know how many times when we're doing live videos, now Ty just ignores it. Then he's got to go and swap the words around with his editing. And then there's dark red, and likewise you'll see there's, look at that bright green. There it's bright green, which means strong trend. So we've just taken that across. So what we've done now to trade off one chart. So normally if we're looking at a 3-minute side by side, let me just click it down here. 3-minute side by side. You can see here's a 1-minute, here's a 3-minute. The 55 that would travel over there basically would be halfway through the 3-minute. So what we've done, this is the change. Are you ready? Dun, da, da, da. This is one of the changes. So I'm quickly going to flick a few buttons and show you what I've done here. Let's just go to style and pop a few things. Boom, boom. And let's just scroll down and you'll see some things beginning to appear on this. What we've added now, this now makes it very easy to trade. Now that's gone the wrong way around. It's definitely the mouse. It can't be me. I haven't made a mistake for years now. All right, so what we've done, if you can see what's happening now, the markets are moving. Let me just turn this off for a second. What we've done now, before the EMA 55 would be tracking where my cross is over there. So what we've done now is we've got so this is a 1-minute, but it basically multiplies whatever frame you're on. We've got our main trading trend zone, which is the 13 and the 21. Then this is now the 3-minute. And this is, what do you think that is? The 8-minute. So gee, this was such a big move. We can see here, so if you're in a buy, there's a buy. This is what you want to see. Can you see the 8-minute is bullish? I've just made one color for the 8, so it's gray both ways. And you will get, can you see that little bullish? There's a bearish crossover. So what you can see, you can look at this chart straight away, and that signal, boom, take the money. Because what's happening, can you see the 8-minute is trending? And the 3-minute did cross over there, but this is what you need to learn with this, that high time frames always bully low time frames. So our 8-minute, when did that cross over? Way back. The 8-minute crossed over way back. That was like at, just after midnight. Or was it, sorry, midday. So basically, we now have got 3 trend zones. We've got the 1, a 3, and an 8. And that with one glance now, you can look at the charts and see whether it's trending. So it makes it way easier to interpret the charts. So here we go. Here we're like in this big sell. So we can see here, this was this big move on Saturday morning. We can see there, once you get a crossover, that is what's happening on the 3 times higher. That's what's happening on the 8 times higher. So if I just split the screen, just to show you. So if let's just get a point where I can see both. How far back was that move there? So here we go. So if I just blow this up, unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, there's such a big move. But can you see this is the 3 minute and I'm following, that's a 3 minute chart. So if I hold the crosshairs down there, can you see it's going on the 21? And here is the 13 on the 3, it's following the 13. So this makes it way easier to interpret a chart. Because what I discovered, when you're looking at 3 charts, it's difficult to see what the trends are in the 3 and the 8. You're trying to look at 3 different charts, but this gives you one glance. So exactly the number of pips between there and there is exactly what is over there. It's a complete match. And the good thing is you can see where price these zones. I didn't mean to be so nerdy, but I'm on a run now. So I'm just going to go. These zones serve as huge liquidity zones. Every time price moves into a higher trend zone, it gets liquidity and moves. So look at this here, look at this. This one, there was a pullback, a counter trend, and look, it hit the 8 zone, and look, it almost dropped vertically. So whenever it, and when you can also see, you know, I talk about compression a lot. Whenever price compresses, look at this, you can see the 3 minute, it's hard to see. If you're looking at a 3 minute there, on a, you know, and there, that would be divided in half with an 8, difficult to see. But still, you'll blow it up. Whenever you get compression, look, this band, the 3 zone compresses. Whenever you get compression, you get a breakout. So it becomes so easy now with one chart to read the market. And it doesn't matter what, let me just close this. It doesn't matter what time frame you're on. This is a 3 minute chart, and the same rules apply. You can see once you're in this trade, this will be equivalent of like 9 minutes. But remember, we're using fib numbers. So as long as you use the ratio of 1:3:8, whenever they line up, you always get moves. So it's just amazing backtesting, and it becomes so much easier to read the chart. So if we just look at how accurate this was over the weekend. So if you look here from, well, there's a buy signal 2:18 in the morning, that was the open. You can see there was only 2 signals. You couldn't have gone wrong there. Now the NAS, let's just go to the NASDAQ. Tar mixed up your order there. I'm going to show you a different signal for the NAS. We're going to come back to the NAS, but there was a bar there, it hit TP2. There was still 50 pips. It's very crunched up. There was a signal there we're going to come to, but basically no false signals. If we go to, let's have a look at gold. Gold is a bit more jumpy in the morning. So let's just close that. Close that. So even with gold, there were no false signals. So there was a sell. I mean, it doesn't look like it, but that was quite a big move. So that candle have opened there. That was, gold was 100 pips there. I'm leaving out the counter trends for simplicity. There were other signals we're going to come to, and there was a nice bar there. So if we look at that, that was a big move. I think that was, how many pips was that? Have you got your magneton tie? So that went up to about 160 pips. No false signals on the 3 minute. If we go to, we also like, what do we like? The Nikkei. Where's the JPN 225? So we can see, look at the whole morning, no false signals. I mean, you can go back. You can see the 3 minute here. There was still 30 pips there. But if you look at the 3 minute, don't you like this? Come on. There's like just signal after signal that's going to win you money. No false signals. So the 3 minutes really, really good. Really, really good. But all you got to look at is just, you can just see now. So on a 3 minute chart, this is almost like a half an hour trend. So the higher the time frame becomes, the more accurate it becomes. If you like the 15 minute, you're going to get the same ratio, 1:3:8. So this is the pattern you got to look at. When you see that, that is money in the bank. Okay, it's a bright signal. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you can see through, this is a 15-minute chart. So that's like a 45-minute chart. And that's like 8 times 15. What's it, 120? So 2 hours. So when you get a signal that's trending, whenever you see these signals, man, price always moves. So as long as you just keep that ratio, 1:3:8, and wait for them to line up. It's like, for us, it's like, what's the word? We're trying to find a word for like a golden setup. It's like a golden setup. What did someone say? Golden? Golden buzzer. Boom. I'll do it to the mouse. Boom. So seriously, if you look back, you'll find these setups, like here is, look at this bar here. I mean, this is what we're on. This is the Nikkei. But look that, you can see when price dips into liquidity, and look at the 8 had a turnaround there. But as long as you're above, I mean, you get huge moves now. So just all you got to look at, tell me this looks easier. For me, it's way, way easier to pick out the good signals. So the way we filter the signals, I mean, how big this, I mean, this was massive, this move. So this is a 15-minute chart. And all these signals you're going to be able to pick up. There's almost 2,000 pips there was there on the JPN, the Nikkei. So it's way easy. So now the way we've increased the filter on the signals. So you get bright signals and you also get dark signals. When it's bright now, what a bright signal means is that not only are we aligned on the current time frame, but it also means that the MACD is also aligned 3 time frames higher. So that becomes a very high probability trade. So when you get brights, there's a bright buy. Let's just see if we can find the dark signal. Gee, look at this 15-minute. There's hardly a loss here. Okay, there was maybe a few pips there, but still, this is almost every signal is a winner. So there's the dark one. It just means the MACD wasn't aligning. So when it's dark, the current time frame is aligned. So that's our normal rule number 1, trend zones. But when it's bright, it means 3 times higher lines, and I'll show you some examples. So let's go back to the 3-minute. So there's a signal we're going to introduce. So we got our standard buy signals, sell signals, we got counter trend, and we also got buy momentum we're familiar with. I won't go through the details, but there also are 2 colors for all those signals. So buy momentum will be dark or bright, and counter trend also dark or bright. Bright is always best. That's all you got to remember. So when you see bright signals, it means there's a higher probability that's going to reach the take profit targets. But this is fun. So that's the basic. We'll come to the MACD at the end. Want to introduce a couple of things. Let me just go to the NAS for a second. You'll see it on the NAS. So what we introduced here too is something called the all-time high, which you're all familiar with. So that now, if you turn it on, we got our normal big numbers, but all-time high. You click that on. And as with everything, it's completely editable. You can choose your colors, but that's going to end up plotting the all-time high, wherever it is. Has it disappeared? Come back to me. There we go. So that's going to always plot. If you click that on, you can always see where the all-time high is. So you can see when it last made a high. You can just go back and check that. You don't have to have it on all the time. Let me just put on the 5-minute chart. That all-time high would have plotted over here. Look, so Thursday, the 9th of October, 12:30, the NAS made an all-time high. And so it's good to know that because price action can vary around all-time highs. So that's now part of the indicator too. Good to have, good to know where the all-time high is. So the big difference is we're going to add another signal. Are you ready for another signal? So because I do a lot of research, so all my spare time I'm sending time information. I'm researching, trading. I'm trying to learn from other forums too. So this is not what I'm going to show you now. I did not think of. But in my research, a lot of other forums have found this pattern and apply it. And so what this pattern is, so I counted on Saturday, the signals that follow this pattern, guess how many pips it produced? If you added the Dow, the NAS, the Nikkei, and gold, there was a total of 4,000 pips with this signal. So this signal is not to be taken lightly. So we need to train more on it. Let me just change. Let's just go to the Dow. We'll start there. Okay, so we're back on the US 30. So let's just put it onto the 3-minute US 30. So this signal you will see is massively profitable. And I'll show you how it can work in 2 ways. So what it is, what I've noticed a lot of other forums that what chooses the big move of the day is what happens in the first 15 minutes. Has anyone heard of that? The first 15 minutes is major for direction. And so a lot of the big money, a lot of people hold back and don't jump in the first 15 minutes after the open. So that currently that's 2:30 a.m., soon to be 3:30 when daylight saving in America kicks in. So a lot of people wait 15 minutes before they enter because what they say is in the 15 minutes, there can be a bit of argy-bargy where the buyers and sellers are having it out. But after 15 minutes, the trend tends to be established. So I thought it'd be good if I could work that into our version 4 and also provide a signal. And you'll see wherever you get a signal for that, or maybe we'll do this next week. No, just kidding, we'll do it now. So you'll see now, if you scroll down, we've got here the New York opening candle levels for support and resistance. So M15, so it's the first 15 minutes. Now I've made a little note there that now I know it's going to test your maths. it works only on time frames that have factors or multiples of 15. So if you try the 8 minute, it won't work. It's got to be 1, 3, 5, 15, 30 minutes, etc. Okay, so you've got that. So if you click that on now, it's going to create two parallel lines that are measuring the opening 15 minutes. Now, it may not be clear. Can you see these two lines here? So what I will do is I'm going to make them, I'll make them fatter. I like that. What happens if I make it 5? I can't really make them brighter, but 5 will make them really bigger so they'll stick out. See, your computer's a bit slower than mine. But you can see there's these two lines running parallel. That is the opening 15 minutes. Now we can see. And this is huge. When I've backtested this, I mean, I felt sorry for Selena. Because there was one day when I was testing about 3 weeks ago, you said, where's the JPPN going to go to, the Nikkei? And I could see it was below the blue line. I knew it was not going to go above the blue. But I couldn't tell you, I'm so sorry, was I still testing? And sure enough, it hit the blue and bounced off. So the thing is, people mainly use this range for the opening, but this is all day. It works all day. Like that was, afternoon in the Nikkei. It works all day. So what you will do is when it breaks below or above, now, can you see that little explosion sign there? Is that clear? That means you've broken the range and price is likely to move. Likewise, if it breaks above, so I've just called that 15-minute resistance, 15-minute support. If it breaks above, we look at gold, you can see it moved up and down quite a few times. But every time it broke, there was pips. And so, yes, I've made an alert for that too. So if you're going to set alerts, this is the first thing you set an alert to, because there's money with this one. So if we just look, we can see obviously that the Dow and the NASDAQ follow similar patterns. So you'll see there too after the open, you can see, that's what I said, there wasn't a sell signal. The algorithm didn't quite plot a sell on the 3 minute, and it does happen. But look, what did you get over there? That explosion, and price after that dropped hundreds of pips. The same if we look at the Nikkei, JPN 225, we can see too after the open, the indicator will plot the range. So we can see here again, around the open, even before we got a 3 minute sell signal, what happened? Can you see that explosion and boom, price dropped down. So, I mean, it drops these big moves and it will come and visit and bounce off those lines. So it'll come back, bounce off that resistance and go up, or pull back like it did when Selena was trading the Nikkei, hit that line, bounce down. I cannot tell you how massive these two lines are. This is going to make a lot of people a lot of money. And if it's in between? If it's in between, it's rangy, then it's your target. So also, we'll over trading, we'll come to that. Now, gold is the exception because gold didn't behave and was very rangy. But if you look at gold, now what I do is to save processing power, I delete a lot of old signals. So this is gold. So what would have happened with gold? So here was the open. The open was 230. This candle would have plotted an explosion over there. And from that explosion, that would have dropped 130 something pips. You see, we're breaking the upper range. So this would have planted an explosion. After that would have 140 pips. Occasionally you do get pullbacks around there. So this one did pull back, but you would have got one there. There's, 15 pips? I don't know. You would have got another one there, and that dropped 120 pips. You would have got a smaller one here, but still, if you were moving your stop loss in the 1 minute, there was still 80 pips there. And here, this is the last one, which they don't delete, plotted on that candle as we broke. And from that signal, 220 pips. So are you convinced? This is massive. So when you see these lines and you see that explosion, pay attention. Now, sometimes it does retest. So you do need sometimes a safe stop loss. But with our candles, for example, if you see a bright green candle, what does that mean? That means, boom, that thing's firing, buys are jumping in, it's not going to pull back. But sometimes, if they're not full color, like here, we haven't got full color candles, there's often a bit of a retest. But that is a big part of this strategy, is having this now, that 15-minute candle, and then plotting those things. It's massive. I can't tell you how massive that is. There is a third indicator we're introducing that's also massive, but we're going to, not yet, but it's going to come maybe even this Friday. I'm going to show you it. It's someone else has done something with it, but I've made one that's way better for TrendForce. that is also, I just showed you some of my wins where sometimes you can get frustrated in range, but I was just taking like 15 pippers like the other day, 15 here, 20 there, based on this indicator. When it's in play, it's great.
Just in case people don't know what the white candles are, I don't know if you're talking about them later, but they're right there.
Oh yeah, white candles too. White candles are...
I don't know what they are.
They just like, and let me just go back here. Let's just go back to the US 30. So white candles are your stop loss warning. So what's great with this indicator is that you get a warning when price is likely to pull back. So you'll see there are white candles. There are white candles there, white candles there, white. So you can see often towards the end of moves, you get warnings that price is reversing. So that white candle was for that pullback here. And often they're perfect. They come right back at the end of the move. That would have been for the move up. And then you get warnings, move your stop loss, move your stop loss. So they are great, those white candles. All right, so this is huge. This range thing is going to be massive. So you'll get that on Monday. Then there's something else. I really love this one. This was a late edition. So if we look at our force table, I'm just going to make it large so you can see clearly. So trading off one chart. So I'm sure you can all see that even at the back. I've added another column, and I did put that out when we did our last training. There's now a fifth column.
For someone that doesn't know what that table is about.
Oh, sorry, this is, sorry, some of you knew this is massive. This table, we call it the Force, just by nickname, but it's actually our TrendForce meter. And it basically tells you what's happening on multiple time frames within terms of the rules we follow. So this is your time frame. It was 1 minute, 3 minute, 5, 8, 15, and you can click on and off. If you just want to have a few. So that is the MACD. The MACD is telling us whether it's bullish or bearish. And without doing too much detail, that's just a training. If it's bright red, it's strongly bearish. Trend zone means it's either red for sell, green if you're in buy mode. The 21 is this white line. It's telling you if it's bullish or bearish, but also how strong the angle is. So dark red means the 21 is not quite strong at the moment, but all the other time frames are very strongly down. And ZA is zone alignment. That is telling us, are we in between, above or below our major trend zones? So if it's red, we're below, safe to sell. If it's green, all green above, safe to buy. If you have orange, trade with caution, because it means you're going to have some moving averages or trend zones that are crossing over. But really, if you apply the 138 with whatever time frame, it always tends to move nicely. So we've got another column, because what I realized when I back test, I was like, I'm either on the 1 minute, this is honestly how I've done a lot of the coding. I'm like trading on the 1 minute and okay, iffy signal. And then the 3 minute had a bright red. I wish I could have seen that. So guess what I've added? I've added, sorry, I'm just having fun tonight.
We're having fun with you.
Signal column.
Oh, there we go.
Signal column. So that's going to tell you what signal is going off on every time frame while you're trading. That took quite a long time to do. So basically, how I've set the coding, if it's a 1 minute signal, it'll stand for 1 minute. If it's a 3 minute signal, it'll stand for 3 minutes. If it's 5, it stays on for.
Candles printing.
So as long as the candle prints, so otherwise it gets messy and noisy. But man, it was fun backtesting this. Let me just show you. So this is great because if you're on a 1 minute chart, so we're on the 1 minute on the US 30 now. Let's just do a replay here. Let's go to the candle before and I'll show you how this plays out. Because it's great to know if you're in a 1 minute trade and suddenly you get a 3 minute signal, an 8 minute signal, it's like stay in the trade, man, this thing's amping. So the whole philosophy of TrendForce is to try, obviously produce safe signals and also keep you in the trade for as long as possible.
Now look at the trend table.
So yeah, what's the trend table change? So that's what we call the Christmas tree look. So look here, you can look at this. So this is just interesting. Look at this, how price tested. Can you see here? Tested the lower 15-minute, it tested, bounced off. It never closed below. So you wouldn't have produced that little explosion, wouldn't have plotted here because it didn't close below. So watch how this changes and watch the signal column. So if I press play, it normally takes a second or two. And so it'll start playing out and then watch, and I may just press pause. So can you see there was a counter trend signal? Let's just watch. Can you see now what's come first? We've broken and closed below that range. That's a good sign price is going to move. So watch how the table changes as these basically are our rules. So you will see now, can you see there? Look there, you're in this trade, boom. 3 minute signal has now popped up. That will stand for 3 bars. The one's gone because 1 minute's gone. There we go. We've got a 15-minute sell, the 8-minute sell signal all coming up. Price is going to move, man. That's going to... And so that's how it plays out. So, I mean, it's really, I mean, this is really, I think, really helpful for our strategy. I've been nerding out for way too long, but you're going to love this, seriously. If you just go to the NAS, because there wasn't a 3-minute signal, so let's just see what is happening on the NAS. Let's just put the replay on, and let's take it just before. So I can't remember what actually happened here, but let's just play this out. Now we're on the 3-minute, and here's our table. Can you see how, and let's have a next look at this. You can see here how price rejected our 15-minute, couldn't really move beyond that and stayed in between. So there, look, can you see there already there was a 5-minute sell signal. That means price is highly likely to move. Then we got the 1 minute. Remember, there wasn't the 3-minute. So the 1 minute would have only stayed on for that candle. But the 5-minute is saying, hey, this trade's going to move. 8 minutes now. You're in the trade, 8 minutes saying sell signal. Whoa, counter trend on the 1 hour. Okay, it's counter trend, but that's still...
So that's it, because it's above this one.
Yeah, so, but still, it's bright. Can you see that's bright red? That means a strong counter trend signal on the 1 hour. Anyway, that's really how that works. You like that one? Come on, tell me you like that one. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. There are a lot of other things we're not going through, but when all that's going to be in the training, you got big round numbers automatically set. You've got to choose gold, NAS, Bitcoin, those things. Nothing's changed there. So the MACD, we've made a few changes also on the MACD. Okay, so it may not be too clear. Our triangle up and down, so we've taken 75% of the noise out of that signal. So when you see one of those, it means reverse re-enter price. Becomes a very high probability reversal. So those are there for reversals, reverse re-enter. So if you look on this 3-minute chart, I mean, look, there's one there, there's one there, one there. They hardly ever come when they do. But we'll talk more about that in training. But what I've done is I've mirrored these zones. I didn't think it would work. And when I did, I thought, I always go to sleep at night and I get this revelation. First thing in the morning, I'm going to try that. So I wouldn't know how because it's not like the MACD is different, the scale is different. I mean, if you're familiar with the stochastic and the RSI, they got a fixed scale, 0 to 100. But the MACD's got a different scale all the time. This scale is not fixed, the scale margin. But what I did was, I tried it and it worked very well. So you could look at one chart here because you've got 3 zones. I've done the same for the MACD, which makes it very easy to interpret. So we got trend zone 3 times higher and trend zone 8 times higher. So if you click those on, can you see what's happening here now? I've mirrored those zones. So can you see how easy it becomes to read a chart now? Because you're looking at the MACD. Okay, we're pulling back. The 3 minutes pulling back. But this is it. Yeah. So, well, let's say the 1 time zone is like in a big pullback. But look, 3 times higher is still pretty bearish, but 8, look at the 8 times higher, man, this thing's still pushing way down. Picture trying to look at 1 minute chart, 3 minute, 8 minute. You also can't get an idea of the ratio of how wide they are, but this puts it all on the same scale. So it becomes very easy to root out the bad trades now, and you just look for the good setups. So, I mean, the real ratio is when they're both trending. Like, look here. So, I mean, there would have been a counter trend signal generated here, but can you see we got a bullish crossover in the main indicator. I mean, we're not quite crossed over on the 8, but you can see 3 times higher, it was already bullish. And we haven't crossed over. Now, we'll talk more about it in more training, but if this is in relation to this is above this, that means we're going up. That makes sense. Yeah, so here we go. Look at this. So here, can you see there's bright? Because we've got a bullish crossover on the 3 minute. 3 times higher is already green, 8 times higher had a bullish crossover. So those become your high probability trades, really high. And I think, was it Danny who said, could we have different signals? You told me months ago. For bright and dark, I've done that. So basically, if you set the alert to dark sell or dark buy, every signal will go off, whether it's bright or dark. If you only choose bright, then only the bright buys and bright sells will go off. So that makes sense with the logic. So all you got to do is look for the right setups, just scroll and it will grow on you. Then the other thing, that's why I love this, like a team effort. Where's Etienne said to me, Etienne Small said to me, can't you make some of the trend zones, some of the zone alignments editable? So looking at zone alignments, let's just turn on the table. So our zone alignment table that will come out at the bottom right here. Our zone, let me make that bigger so you can all see. You can put on all the time frames. So I'll just make it.
Quick glance at which chart is trending.
Yeah, so we want to know what's trending. So this is great with this. I mean, we can put all the Christmas lights on there, decorate the tree quickly. So you'll see this table now. I've made it large. Did I make it large? You haven't got the processing power. I've got, boom. Okay, that's a bit big. But anyway, you get the idea. So this is basically telling the Dow, NASDAQ, gold, Nikkei, Bitcoin. This is telling you which is trending. So if you get up in the morning to trade, this is going to give you a very good impression. We always say if it looks like a Christmas tree, don't trade it. And you can click any of those off. You don't have to, you can just click 2. But what I've done now, it may look a little bit messy, but you can change all of these. PineScript has just chosen the default broker, but you can change that to your own broker if you want. It doesn't make a difference. But all of these, you can enter in what you want. So if you wanted to trade, say the British pound, so if you wanted to put in GBP, USD, you can choose your own broker, or you can choose Pepperstone, whatever. Then you may want to put your own abbreviation there, BP, British pound. Then what that's going to do eventually, now I've probably tripped your thing out, Ty. I mean, that may take too long to load, it's loading. But you can choose all your indices. So if you trade oil, diamonds, whatever, skateboards, whatever it is, you can choose and you can put your favorites up there. So now it's showing British pound, which is great. So that's a bit of a Christmas. We don't want to trade that now because that's got too much of a mixture. But you can change all of those. You can cut them off, edit them. So I mean, that was a quick overview. I think I've probably said enough. Are there any questions? But what you find, which is really good, by the way, is that higher time frames really bully low time frames. If you look at this here, I've got this crunched up. This is a huge move. I mean, that's still hundreds of pips from there. You could have entered on a histogram going bright. So that's still dropped 450 pips. But you can see 3 times higher was in a big pullback. But if you look at the big picture now, can you see that's, 8 times higher, very, very bearish. Look at this MACD, 8 times higher, still very bearish. You find that the time frames, high time frames definitely bully the low time frames. I think, Ty, that's probably enough of an overview. Is that giving you enough just to know the big changes? I'll hand back to Ty. We'll leave it there. Thanks, guys.
How good is that? Woo! Okay, so if you're already familiar with TrendForce, you just want to keep asking questions and hang out with Dad in a different room for the next 2 hours, I get that. But if you have never seen any of that before, I totally understand if some of that flew over your head, because it would fly over mine. And like I said, we've got a detailed video with about 1,000 cuts in it going live tomorrow night that is going to show you every single piece of that indicator, from top to bottom, inside out, how to adjust it, how to change it, how to make it whatever color you want to make it, and how to set all the things up the way you want it. So there's that, and there's a PDF to go with it that is 65 pages long that just screenshot all the moments. So I'll show you a tiny bit, but the main thing is that, guys, like, we can have a video that shows you a screen share, but I know 3 years of doing this, I know that we all learn in different ways. So I took screenshots, about 60 of them during that video, and then put detailed typed up examples of what he was saying during that part of the video with a timestamp, so you could watch him talk about it for a minute, but you can also look at the picture and go, oh, okay, I see that. And you can quickly reference different parts and just absorb it at your own pace with a picture. Sound good? Okay, so the only thing really left is to show you guys, if you guys want to see what this is like and how to get it, that's what my plan is now, is to show you how you can actually get a hold of this thing. And so obviously the website over there, we've spoken about the free element, the foundations, but this is the roadmap, guys. Like, we actually have a very well-defined pathway of stages 1 through 7 to take you from stage 1 being you're in your foundations, your first 90 minutes, those first 4 videos, 90 minutes of that and a PDF that goes with that. You can grab that right now. Like, we want to help people figure out if trading is what they want to do. So you can go and immerse yourself in that and grab it. And then after that, once you start getting involved in what we're actually doing, you get into stage 2. As soon as you are on the inside of us, you're going to get emailed all of this stuff strategically spaced out. So you're going to have access to everything, but also this pathway. So, tools and setup, a couple of videos there that I made. What Dad was showing you tonight was TradingView, the website with all the charts and the colors and the candles. That's TradingView. So I've got 2 videos on that which show you the top 10 tools that we use every day, and another one which shows you how to actually demo trade. So I recorded one of my own 45-minute sessions of trading. losses in there, wins in there, but it still ended up stacking out that I came out on top. But I screen recorded the whole thing and sped up the gap so you can watch an actual session and see what buttons you're pushing on top of watching TrendForce show you some signals. So that's the how-to. So those videos are in there. You'll be watching that within your first hour potentially. Stage 3. Now this is what's going live tomorrow night because we've had to update it all. Stage 3 is the indicator video and the rules video. That is going to show you every detail, like I just said, of version 4 and how it works. So stage 3 is working through that. Stage 4 is now you're actually practicing. You're demo trading, you're waiting for buy signals, you're clicking the button, and you're actually now growing that fake account in real time with real signals. So that's stage 4. Stage 5, you're now tracking with us, like you're on Zoom Tuesday nights. We have trainings every Tuesday night, so you can track along with that, and also watch our recordings because we've got detailed recordings on all those little elements, like a whole video on the MACD. Like it's not just little bits here and there. Like all our Tuesday nights, we do fresh trainings every week to just rehash and have Q&A and show the different elements. And then Friday mornings, stage 6, you're market ready at this point. You can jump on our live analysis Zooms where Dad is we're screen sharing for about an hour and a half in real time, looking for trades that we can all take together. Sometimes it doesn't happen right then and there, sometimes it does, but you're seeing us talk in real time of here, we're looking for this is why we're not taking this is why, oh, this is a good one, let's take it. So that's market ready. Stage 7, you're in that freedom stage, you can do this on your own, you don't need to be waiting on anyone, you're confident to be able to do this, and at that point, you've proven yourself on demo and you might be ready to actually start doing this with real money. So that's the journey that we're on, guys. We're gonna start somewhere and we wanna move people through to where you can become an independent trader doing this on your own in your own time. Because Dad and I know, like, we can't run live Zooms 3 days a week, 3 times a day, 5 days a week, because some want to trade mornings and some want to trade nights and some want to trade lunchtime and some people on different time zones and all that. So our goal is to really help each of you figure out how it works for yourself so you don't rely on us telling you when to take a signal, but you feel confident enough to know which ones to take and which ones to ignore. Sound good? Yeah. So that's the journey. So like I said, that system, this is this PDF. So I just want to show you a tiny part of it. But once you get into here, you're going to see the indicators of section 1, section 2 is the rules. There's some bonus material in there. That's every single part of the video. This is the video, but it's broken down into screenshots so you can look at each intricate piece of it. Like I said, when you're brand new, my goal was to have this smooth enough so that someone can get started and just work through content at their own pace. And if they have a question, you can always ask me or ask the group chat. But this is taking you from, here's that TradingView website. Here's how you actually get it. Here's how you actually find our indicators that I've sent you. You're gonna click on that button and click on that button and bang, you've got them. So everything is screenshotted to the point that a 10-year-old can follow these steps, and it's totally okay if you get stuck. That's what we're here for. But everything. Step 5, adjusting the settings for yourself. Remember, this also represents like a full minute or 2 of Dad explaining it in a video, and you'll find that at 2 minutes and 10 seconds into the video. So yeah, indicator settings, all those fun things, buy signals, like I said, Dad's talking about this during that video, but also, why. Like we always need to follow the rules. There's the stop loss, the take profit level. Everything is documented at a high level, so you can sit in your bed and just look at the PDF and refresh your memory pretty dang quickly if you just wanted to scan through the PDF. Printing it might be an issue because of the colors, but anyway, you can look at it on your screen. And then you're going to work through the rules and you're going to figure out how all those work. And then once you've figured out these rules, which are not hard, like I said, there's a 12-minute video that show you 6 examples of good signals and better signals and a couple of reasons why you wouldn't take them. 12 minutes. You're going to understand the rules in 12 minutes and see good and bad examples, and you're going to positively brainwash yourself to look for those golden setups which follow the rules. And then after the rules, hopefully you're going to be like these people messaging me what happened after you followed the rules. So I love this. This was during our Zoom the other day. I think, Nikki, you said in the chat, 8 winning trades, unprecedented morning, thanks to this indicator. So Nikki, there you go. And over there, I love waking up to these texts. I'm so excited for version 4. Rolled out of bed Saturday morning, earned 121 bucks on the NAS in 2 minutes. See, that's what's possible when, and to be fair, you might be waiting an hour, but in that 2 minutes, when the signal pops off, if you're confident enough and you see the thing and you click the button when the signal fires, I mean, Dad, your average length of trades from getting in to getting out is going to be under 10 minutes. Like it can be in that 2 to 10 minute zone when the right setup lines up. And sometimes we're paid to wait, where it's about patience. We're waiting, it may be waiting for an hour, waiting for 2, but I would rather wait for an hour or 2 doing this than grinding as a Sparky crawling under houses for 8 to 10 hours a day. Like you choose your pain. Like I'd rather choose this. I got this one. This is a funny one. I kind of love how it finishes, but private text to me, and you'll understand why in a minute. Bro, I just want to say a big thank you. Since our chat, I've been implementing a better trading strategy with good risk management, and the results have been phenomenal. Over the past 2 weeks, 10 trading days, I've grown my account by 13.5% each week. So about 50 trades per week. So detail, 85%, 80% win rate. Thanks to you and your dad's coaching. Really appreciate it. Love you doing well. I want to encourage you and thank you for investing so much in time and energy, etc., etc. And I know God has big plans for this. P.S. I don't want to post this in the main group because I don't want to be seen as gloating. But you can see, like, not everyone's posting in the group chat, but, you know, and we're not all winning every day either. But the facts are that, you know, my goal is to get people to this point where you, on your own, can just be chilling in the background, doing your thing, taking trades. A couple more funny ones here. This is one of my good mates on the left. I sent him a text saying, because I hit my target, it's a funny one. And then anyway, he responded. And then he said, I got this gold buy last night, nearly made 10% with a super tight top loss. He says, woke up to a 10% winning trade. So he put in his trade, let it run, which some of us will do, depending on what's going on. And he woke up to a 10% win. Now, if you've got a 6-figure account, 10% is a really good day. When you're risking 1% and you're making 10%, I'll let you do the math. I'm not sure on the size. He's definitely 5-figure account, don't know about 6, but 10, like, that's what's possible. And at a 1 to 10 risk reward, you win one of those trades, you can have a lot of bad days. And you're playing with house money. And that's my goal. When people call me and they're in euphoria of winning, I say, whatever you put into your trading account, take that out right now. So you've put in money, you've more than doubled it, whatever, take that initial investment out, because you're most likely to have losses in a stage of euphoria, and you sound euphoric. Just to like, because you'll get excited. You'll be running to your wife and saying, "Oh, I made it, I did this last night." You're not going to run in when you make losses. Laughing because you've done it. But this is the thing. You are going to get really excited. You're going to make some big wins. But then the name of this game, guys, is capital preservation and risk management. That is the name of this game. So if you make those kinds of wins, you've doubled your account, whatever. You put in 1,000, you're sitting on 2,000. Take that first 1,000 out of there. Now you're playing with house money. And treat that 1,000 like it was your first 1,000. That's how you're going to progress in a healthy way. Instead of just swinging for the fences, thinking like you're going to have another 10% tonight. I'm going to have a bigger stop loss. It's going to go north and it goes south. None of these are made up stories. I can tell you now, I've pretty much done it all. Like, I've tried holding this and doing that and no stop and blowing that. Like, just try to learn from those who have gone ahead of you and just have a stop and have risk management. Never risk 10% either. Giggle, but it happens. Anyway, so another cool one. You know what? I love this. So, like, Kylie, I didn't ask your permission, but you're in the room. So new students, this is what I love. So correct me if I'm wrong, but Aaron and Kylie are here from Tauranga. Got wind of what we were doing a couple weeks ago, jumped into the free course on the weekend, signed up on a Tuesday, and 4 days later posted in our chat, you know, first day paper trading, up 2% across 6 trades between the two of us because they're doing this together. So 4 days after signing up, already clicking the button and growing the demo account. That was my goal, to like have people be able to get started, get enough content, work through the content to be able to just do the thing. Because I know when I was a Sparky, you know, they put you into basics, throw all this theory at you. Like, if I didn't get given a pair of pliers or a hammer or something to bang in a nail, 2 weeks of theory, I would have been done. So our goal is to get you clicking the button and actually figuring out how this thing works and not just studying for hours. So after a couple hours of study, you should be able to click the button. That's the goal. So well done, guys, for going all in, showing up here, driving from Tauranga. Amazing. Give them a hand. And the cool thing is, this is the fun part. I've never been able to do this with all of you guys in the room. So some of you might be able to see your faces right now. So here we go. Amanda, you're here. So I've had, and these are, you know, from the last few months, gathering some sound bites from all of you guys. Had an 85% win rate in 1 month since becoming efficient with TrendForce. So, you know, some of us have been tracking for a few different years. And we were doing things like Danny's story with other things, but transitioning to this, being able to do that. Already was pretty efficient with trading, but was able to step into TrendForce. And then, as you can tell, the biggest thing we've gone after is removing false signals. That's why there's 2,000 lines of code in ours versus what we used in the past, which had like 5.
That was about 10.
Okay, about 10. It's 10. Call it 20. Yeah. It's not 2,000. Yeah. But anyway, Amanda's amazing story. So cool to see you winning. Who else? Okay, Christopher's not going to stand up. He's in Brunei. But TrendForce creates a simple, scalable, and profitable approach to trading, even in volatile markets. Elise is usually here. She's in Panama right now. Finally feel like I have all the help I need, and I know my questions will always be answered. Jordash, where are you? Yes, over here. Since using TrendForce, I see the markets with clarity and trade with way more confidence. Zeph, also usually here from Topol, now in Panama as well. Before this, trading felt out of reach. Now I feel confident, and I've never seen mentorship like this. Martin in the Netherlands, TrendForce isn't just about tools. They focus as much on mindset and trader growth. Nikki over here, I love it. The TrendForce system is incredible. I believe it's divinely inspired. I know Dad would definitely agree with you. Sean over in Ireland, it's a blessing to be supported by people who genuinely care and take action to help us grow. Who else about? Selena, also with us from Tairoa. After 3 years of trying, TrendForce was the missing piece. Now I'm growing my capital consistently. Thanks for coming as well and driving all the way as you always do. Love it. Tim Dove, where are you? Legend. He's responsible for all of our branding at Rebrand. So if you need some branding work, go and see them. This is the funny story is that he saw what we were doing because we wanted to have a branding exercise, and we said we're not letting in new people until we've got all the content ready. And he basically said, please, I'll just lurk in the background. I want to do this. And so he jumped in and was able to track with us before we even had most of the ready content. But as an absolute newbie, obviously felt pretty lucky to get involved. You won't regret it, and has obviously been progressing and is now even repping. So welcome to the cult. Wayne from Wanaka in the building, man. What an effort. Been here since the beginning, and this is a true community, not just a random people trying to trade. And Vickers, I didn't give you much of a heads up for this, but there you are, and I might even get you in a minute. But TrendForce is a game changer, and it forces you to follow the rules and eliminates guessing. I forgot to even say we should do this, but Vickers volunteered to actually say a few words tonight, and I forgot to even confirm to say, will you? But I know that on the spot you'd be good for it. So guys, can you put your hands together for Vickers as he jumps up?
Hi guys. I was not used to doing this.
That's why they're not on the light.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
But yeah, look, it's only my second year trading, and look, I've been in paid groups, live trading groups, signal groups, and all of that, and I just and then companies, multi-level marketing, and somewhere down the line, it just some of them pay well, and you learn a lot, learn new people as well on the journey, and the thing for me was just, what am I going to do so that I can just focus on my trading? Because that's really the passion. That's what I wanted to do. And that's when I saw TrendForce November last year. The thing about it is, it's one indicator. Obviously, there's many parts to it, but the set of rules that comes with it was absolutely key. And I struggled for a few months with it. And when I started to focus on that small, lower lot sizes on my trades, risk management, followed to that rules. I shared a couple of payouts with these guys the other day on I'd like to trade on prop firms, and I just realized that it's not rocket science. Stick to the rules, and look, there's psychology behind trading. I'm not going to lie. You have to get over that step. If you battle with losing trades, you can have a problem, but it takes time. So just be patient. This thing freaking works, and I think my account's already grown just by looking at V4. So I'm super excited, and I just thought I'd share it with you guys. So again, it's not a race. So be patient, trust the system. I just know that, look, I'm not in a position to fire my boss, but I know where I want to be one day. So this skill is amazing. It's an awesome community, and yeah, thanks Tim, legend, and Ty, you guys are, and it's so cool. If you've got a question, you're probably gonna have the answer within 5 minutes. That's different. You don't get that on other places where you pay $100, $150 a month, and so yeah, thought I'd share that. It's a game changer, and I know it will be life changing. So it's just what you do with it.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, man. So naughty. Forgot to say yes. I will put you on the spot tonight. I'd rather call him up. That's about as authentic as it gets. But so cool, man. So appreciate you. Like you said, we were part of other things in the past, learning wherever you get into the space where you get into the space. But yeah, our goal was to develop the most cutting edge tools as possible to get rid of the noise, get rid of all the hype, and just figure out how to help traders win. That's the goal. So in that sense, I want to show you how you actually can. So you've seen the website, you already know the free course is there. There's a little join now button at the top. So that takes you to this next page where you'll see what it comes with. And so because that's a little bit small, I try to add it. So you obviously get the indicators, all the fancy tools that you just saw tonight, and a whole lot more, because there's already a third thing that we're talking about. So ongoing access to whatever tools that we update, and there's updates that happen regularly. Our Tuesday night training Zooms, they're 8 p.m. every Tuesday inside the school terms. We try to take 1 week off here and there just to give everyone some breathing room. But Tuesday night Zooms, Friday mornings, we're on the charts live analyzing. So 2 weekly Zooms right there. Our group chat where there's Q&A happening every day. Someone's going to answer. I'm off my phone on Saturdays. I do that to protect my family and all my healthiness in that space. So more often than not, though, you're going to get an answer pretty quick. And the markets are closed on Saturday, 10 a.m. onwards anyway. And then our beginners course is in there. You're going to get that straight away. And our advanced course, which I showed you, all the videos, all the system PDFs, all the things. So you get all of that. And so what does that look like? Well, before we even started this thing, like I said, the options I was aware of were like $5,000, and then the other stuff we were a part of was like 150. I was paying at one point 249, basically 400 New Zealand dollars a month for what we were a part of in the past. I was doing it, I was getting value, but at the same time, I know it excludes a lot of people. So we just wanted to figure out, okay, what can we do? What can we offer? And how can we make it realistic? Some of you already know what our stuff costs. It's roughly 130-ish New Zealand dollars a month. I say that because my awesome web developers made it US based. So $120 US to sign up, and that's your first month covered, and then it becomes 80. Take some time, think about it. If you've got any questions, we're going to hang around for ages afterwards. But that's what it looks like, guys. So there is an annual option too. I know some people in this room have already done that. The annual option basically has no joining fee, and you get a month for free. So you can actually upgrade to that with our site if you're already in the site. I know a lot of our local people didn't sign up through our website. But you can if you want to adjust to that, because if you do grab the annual thing, then you do end up getting a month for free. So that's totally up to you, whatever suits you. Nothing, you're not locked into anything, obviously. All our stuff is just month to month, unless you pay for an annual. We'll figure that one out later. I've talked to my web guy. But that's essentially what it looks like on the inside, guys. So if you want to take that step, you'll get an email that looks like that and a whole lot more detail below of how you're going to get plugged in, and basically just going to send me a message on Facebook. I'm going to add you to our group chat. I'm going to send you those indicators within a day, and you're off. You're going to have that student roadmap with all those stages. You're going to know exactly what to watch in what order. There's a playlist of videos that gets emailed to you. The PDFs get emailed to you. The idea being you've got everything you need to just actually track through content and get trading. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is that. But honestly, guys, bottom of my heart, to the biggest thank you. Like, for those of you that have driven ages, flown from ages, I mean, the whole North Island / bit of New Zealand is represented here. So it really blows us away. Like, we just love being able to see your faces, meet you guys, and do some life together where we can in person. Obviously, if we're Auckland based, we can do a bit more of that. All of you guys online, I know it's harder. Look, here's what I'll say. I was that guy by myself in Auckland when I started this. And wherever you are in the world, or wherever you are in your city, you know, I know a lot of people create their own little group chats with 3 or 4 friends, and they do this thing together. They hop on their own Zooms during the week. So you can build your own pod of accountability and friends and keep each other a little bit more accountable if you want, because there is about 100 in our group chat. You can do whatever suits you, but you know, I know for our internationals, we'd love to be able to have everyone together. Maybe one day we'll have like a retreat in Bali or something. And
Here we go.
there you go. Okay, that got a good response. Let's do that. I had a good time in Bali last year, so that's pretty up there. But yeah, guys, that is it for that. I know some of you are gonna have, you know, V4 questions by the end of tomorrow night. It's all going to be there. You're going to get the indicator at some point by the end of tomorrow, the update, and you're going to get tomorrow night on YouTube. It'll premiere at 8 o'clock, the indicators video, the rules video, and so that then on Tuesday night, we're heading into training with this thing, and you have got everything you need to rock and roll with V4. You guys excited? Yeah. Woo! All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for watching this later. If you saw this online, if you have any questions, send me a message. Otherwise, guys, thanks again for coming out, and hang around for some snacks, some coffee, some tea, and some chocolate, and we'll see you in the chat, and we'll trade safe. Thanks.